Hey guys, welcome back to another Turning Wheels podcast. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but with the WRX kind of all the details still getting ironed out with that, it is considered totaled. They did total it out, so I'm kind of waiting to see what I'm going to do next as far as either getting into another new car or what I'm going to do. So I'm not sure. I'm still undecided. I thought this would be a fun video to interact with you guys while I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. So keep in mind, everything in this video is going to be opinion based. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just here to have fun and talk about my opinions. And before we get into the video, I want you guys to do me a favor. Go down in the comments and let me know the number one thing that you dislike when people do to their vehicles. No matter what it is, just let us know in the comments. We can talk about it and joke about it there. Again, I'm not insulting anybody. So if you have any of these modifications that I'm going to list, just know it's all conditional, right? So every vehicle is going to be different. Some people can get away with some of this stuff and some can't. And again, it's completely opinion based. So you could have these things and love them, and that's all you, buddy, because I don't want it. So more for you. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll jump right into this list. Keep in mind, this is in no particular order. These are just the 10 things that I don't really like in the aftermarket car world. And some of these aren't even necessarily the aftermarket. Some people do these to their everyday cars, and I'm just like, why would you do that? So number one thing is universal parts. Now, this is conditional as well, because you could take a universal part that is not designed to fit your vehicle and make it fit really well with a little bit of custom fabrication. I'm talking more about things like mud flaps or steering wheel covers or seat covers or floor mats. You know, you go down to the auto store and you buy this stuff, and it's not a direct fit for your vehicle. It is just a universal seat cover or universal floor mats, and they always look terrible. When you get a universal seat cover, it never fits the seat right. You got these weird straps and hooks and everything else laying around. It doesn't flow with the car. A lot of times the seat cover doesn't cover the whole seat, and it looks really awkward. Same thing with like the floor mats. If you get universal floor mats, they're just kind of there. You know, they're gonna do their job in a way, but they don't go with the floor line at all like an OEM floor mat would. Again, there is examples of this where it actually works out and looks really nice, where I've even taken universal parts and made them look good on vehicles, but you have to put some effort in to do that, and a lot of people don't. Number two, something that bugs me a lot, and I see this a lot at like nighttime car meets. I actually love underglow. I love the whole like 90s, early 2000s vibe with that. I love underglow neon lights. I love, you know, LEDs and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong. If you have a nice underglow kit on your car or interior LEDs and stuff, I actually do like those. However, there's a proper way to do it and an incorrect way of doing it. And in my opinion, and an incorrect way of doing it is when I can visibly see the LED strip or the tube if you're using like a actual neon tube. And when you install an LED strip or you install, you know, some kind of neon kit, you always want to hide the light, right? So if you bring your car to a car meet and say you have a Miata and it is slammed to the ground and I can see the LED strip going around the outside of the car, it just looks weird to me. If you find a way to tuck that up underneath where I cannot see the LEDs, but I can see the glowing of the lights, it looks great. I think it looks really good. But if you put those LEDs in a visible place where I can see the LED strip, it looks cheap and tacky and it doesn't look well done. So my dog will sit still all day long, and then as soon as I try and film, he just gets up and walks around and his toenails tap on the floor. So if you hear that, that's what that is. But number three is going to be also kind of conditional. This is something that on a daily driver, I think it ruins a car. But when you have a track-based car or a weekend warrior, I don't see anything wrong with this, but on your daily driver, I cannot stand excessively loud modifications. That being solid motor mounts, solid transmission mounts, solid, and I've done some of these myself, so I'm not talking shit. I'm not, you know, calling you out if you have these mods, but from my personal experience, they get annoying very quickly. If you are daily driving a car every day, I feel like they ruin the car because you're trying to get to work and your steering wheel's vibrating from solid motor mounts or your seat's vibrating from solid, you know, differential bushings and that sort of thing. They are great. They make the car feel and handle great, but they are terrible for comfort and daily driving. Number four is a pretty simple and quick one, and that is windshield banners. Now, I'm not talking about like your car club name or your Instagram, whatever. I'm talking a very specific kind of banner that goes across your windshield. Any guesses? Maybe you guys hate it too. If you're driving a Honda Civic and you put a giant sticker across your window that says Honda Civic, I slap myself in the face when I see your car. I'm like, everybody knows that's a Honda Civic. Why do you have to advertise on the window that it's a Honda Civic? There's a specific amount of people I see do this, and it's always Honda Civic, Honda Accord. I've seen a couple CRVs, and another popular one that I see a lot is Mazdas. I see Mazda Speed 3 or Mazda 3 or Mazda 6. I'm sure everybody does this, but those are the most popular ones I see. And when I see it, I'm just like, why? Why? It looks so bad. And we know what the car is. You don't need to tell us. You have decals already on the car from factory that tell us what it is. We don't need a giant banner across your windshield to verify that. So number 5 is going to be a spin-off of the exhaust, and that is a specific thing about the exhaust, which is Crackle Tunes. This is not only a loud, annoying mod, it is fun. I've had Crackle Tunes on my cars. I have videos of my car with the Crackle Tune on it. It is fun to play around with. It's fun to get people's reactions, and it's funny, okay? But daily driving with a Crackle Tune permanently installed on your car is just a bad idea. For multiple reasons. It's going to attract police attention. It's going to attract attention from everybody around you and cause disturbances everywhere around you. And it is very hard on your car. Now, it depends what kind of Crackle Tune you have. If it's, you know, certain anti-legs or real loud backfires where it's just dumping a bunch of fuel to make it shoot flames out the back. It really depends, but you can have all sorts of issues with that. It's hard on your catalytic converter if you still have one. It can completely degrade it, and you'll be shooting pieces of your catalytic converter out the exhaust, and it'll just shred it apart. Your oxygen sensors in the exhaust system can be damaged from Crackle Tunes or backfire tunes. Lots of things. Basically, your car is going to be calling for more fuel, and that fuel is going to get dumped into your cylinders, and it can cause excess detonation, and it can damage your valves, it can damage your pistons, it can damage your piston rings, everything. So everyone tries to avoid detonation when they're tuning a car, and that's why a lot of people run, you know, alcohol or ethanol or methanol injection, those sorts of things, because they eliminate the chances of having that detonation or knock. And another big issue is that fuel can go down past your piston rings and actually get into your oil and dilute it. And what that's going to do is, obviously, over time, if you're diluting your oil, if you're not changing your oil more frequently, it's going to thin out, and it's going to stop providing the adequate protection, and it's going to ultimately lead to some kind of failure. Number 6, I think almost everybody can relate to, and that is stick-on car parts. That is like add-on vents, things of that nature. There are some exceptions that I'm okay with if it's like a factory option. Like for a personal example, I had the factory S207 vents in my rear bumper. They're functional, kind of, not really. If it's a factory unfunctional vent, it is what it is. But if you take a hood scoop from AutoZone and you put it on your hood and there's not even a hole underneath it to let the air in, and it just goes nowhere, it's really, really tacky. Or like the fender vents, like the little, I'm sure you guys have seen them, like the little chrome outlined vents that go on your fender, like they just look so bad. I just think it ruins the look of the car, especially because 9 times out of 10, people don't even paint match them. So you have this flat black, you know, hood scoop on this red car or whatever it may be, and it just looks awful. This one might get me in trouble, and that is number 7 would be a car that is too low with excess camber. Both, one or the other. I think if your car is too low, it becomes an issue, right? You know, if you're on bags, it is what it is. But if you are just on coils and you're slammed to the ground, I feel like it ruins the car, because you got to really be careful where you're driving. Now, my WRX, for instance, was lowered quite a bit, but far from slammed. I mean, it was probably a solid 3 inches lower than factory, nothing crazy, and I would still bottom out and smash my freaking under tray skid plate on everything. I dented my mid pipe and my down pipe. I mean, it's just crazy. So I can only imagine some of these cars that are like inches, I mean, literal like 2 inches off the ground. How do you ever drive that thing? I feel like it is just, again, if you're driving it on the weekends or stuff, something like, I feel like it could maybe be okay, but if you're driving that thing around every day, especially on the roads near where I live, it is just terrible. It's going to ruin your car. It's going to ruin your driving experience, in my opinion. And then the camber, obviously, you know, you're also going to, in most cases, be burning through tires. You're going to, it just looks bad, okay? I just don't like it. That's just me. Please don't hate me. But some camber's okay. But when you just go all out, like, I just, and I feel like it's so unsafe. So I feel like it ruins the car in that way, because you're taking a tire where you have this much tread on it and you're only using this much of it. That is really not cool. It's not safe. I just don't think it's a good idea. Number 8, I started noticing it making a comeback over the last year or two. It was a big thing, I feel like, in the 90s, and it started coming back, and I'm like, why is this coming back? And that is colored window tint. Again, there might be someone in the comments that's gonna flame me for this, but regular window tint is okay to some extent. Once you start going too dark, I feel like it's kind of stupid because you really lose visibility at nighttime. Colored window tint is just like, I feel like it's distracting from any car. You could have this beautiful built car, head to toe, top to bottom. This car is beautiful in every aspect. And then you have colored window tint. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, that colored window tint just completely erases everything you've done with the body of the car to make it look nice, because all the attention just goes to your windows. And if that's what you're into, so be it. But I feel like it kind of ruins whatever other work you've done to make the car look nice. There are some exceptions. I've seen some cars with colored windows that look okay, but it's not my preference, I think. And it also, I've seen videos of people driving around with cars with colored windshields and side glass, and I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, everything is just tinted blue or red or green. I feel like it ruins the car. Number 9, thankfully, seems like it's dying off. It was kind of trendy about 2 years ago, I want to say, maybe 3 years ago, was the tire lettering. So many cars I would see at car shows where they would have a Nankang tire or a Continental tire, and they'd put Toyo or Pirelli or these completely different brand tire stickers on their tire. Or that's like putting a Lamborghini badge on a Honda. It just doesn't work. I feel like it was just a trend that hopefully completely dies out. I hate it. I just think it looks really bad. If you have a car that is built completely to like look like a race car, I mean, you got sponsor letterings all up and down the side, and it looks like it belongs on a racetrack, and it's gutted out with a roll cage. Tire letters, all right, fine. But on a street car, I feel like it just looks so overdone. And it was just a trend that everyone was doing, and I'm glad it kind of dissipated because I hardly see it anymore, and I'm so thankful for that. And number 10 is kind of a simple one, but it's something that I definitely see a good bit of still, and I feel like it ruins a build. A good quality build can be completely ruined if you have too wide of wheels for the car. If you have a flare kit or you have a wide body and you have really wide wheels and tires, great, looks good. If you have a stock body car with no flares, no wide body, and you put big wide wheels and tires on it, and your tires stick out an inch past the fender, first off, I feel like it ruins the car because it just doesn't look right. It's a fine line because if the wheel tucks in behind the fender like they do for most cars factory, it doesn't look good either. But I think the best thing is a nice proper fitment where it's nice and flush with the body. But when you extend out past that, unless you have a 10-second Honda Civic where you got these big meaty drag radials in the front and they stick out half an inch or 2 inches, whatever it be, cool, it has its purpose. But when you have a street car where all 4 wheels just stick out, you know, an inch past the fender, people say it's bad for wheel bearings and such to have, you know, a spacer or wider wheel, but we all do it anyway, right? The problem that I see is when your wheel sticks out that far, you're not only throwing stones at your own car, but you're throwing stones at the guy behind you, because the stones and stuff aren't going up underneath and hitting inside at your fender liners. They're shooting up into the air and behind your car. I've been behind people that have spacers on their wheels and they stick out past the car and they throw stones all over my car, and it pisses me off. I mean, I don't know, you can argue with me if you want, but that's just my opinion. I feel like it looks really weird and it can be damaging. So those are my 10 things. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree or disagree, we'll talk about it. But again, let me know what your #1 complaint is in the car community, things that you don't like to see. But here in this channel, at least, I am open-minded. I love all builds. I can look at a car and not like it, but I appreciate the person's time and effort to build that car. It could be the ugliest thing in my eyes, and as long as that person put their blood, sweat, tears, and their soul into that car, I'm gonna respect it. So we're in this day and age where car modding is, I feel like, slowly dying. Things are getting more expensive. You know, there's more and more regulations on the modifications that we can do and buy. And so anytime I see a fellow car enthusiast, I welcome in with open arms. And, you know, whatever their build is, as long as they're happy, I'm happy for them. It might not be my cup of tea, but I respect it. So this video, all jokes aside, these are just the things that I don't like. You could have every single one of these modifications on your car, and as long as you're not bothering me and you're not talking crap on my car, I'm not going to talk crap on yours. I'm going to respect you, and I'm going to leave you alone. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk in the comments. I'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully we'll figure out what's going on with the WRX, and I'll give you guys some kind of update and let you know what the future plans are. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.